Act 1, Scene 1 of Hamlet literally begins with two characters walking around in the dark calling out each other's names. But we also know that there is connotation to the phrase, in the dark. So figuratively, what are these guys? They're kind of lost. They're confused. In fact, we could say that all of Denmark is a little confused right now. But literally, your play begins with a man hollering, "Who's there?" And we know that theme is a way to summarize the moral or the lesson from a story. But if we wanted to look for symbolism in the opening line that any character speaks in any piece of literature, that's not a bad idea. It is the first line spoken on stage in a drama, right? And so, who's there? Stated by Bernardo, literally, he's asking, who's out there? But figuratively, we could say there's a much larger statement being made about the setting of our play. It's Elsinore, and it's curious, it is mysterious, it is, well, strange, as we'll find out soon. There's a literal changing of the guard taking place on page 7. If you're using the same copy of the script that I'm using, you should also not deface your book the way that I have. But there's a changing of the guard, literally, on page 7. Francisco and Bernardo, they're swapping spots. But then we think about the King of Denmark and the fact that Prince Hamlet, King Hamlet, shouldn't Prince Hamlet have become king when his father died? And yet, we know already that there's a guy named King Claudius listed in the cast of characters. And so there is a more metaphorical changing of the guard going on between the two kings and the rule of succession. But it turns out, because parallelism matters, right? Parallelism shows that not only is this taking place in Denmark, but it's also happening in Norway, between Old Fortinbras and Young Fortinbras. And Horatio points out that this bodes some strange eruption to our state when we find a ghost outside. Bode has negative connotation, strange eruption has negative connotation, and then the state of Denmark is what he's referring to. But we also know that nouns are persons, places, things, and states of being. So whatever he means connotatively, we can be sure that this is to be taken both literally and figuratively. Denmark is in the dark. We're all wondering who's there. What happened to the old king? Why isn't Hamlet the king now instead of being prince? And who's this Claudius guy? There's a literal changing of the guard outside of Elsinore on page 7. But that kind of relates to the symbol of the King of Denmark now being a moment of transition. Who is the king? Is it Prince Hamlet, King Hamlet, or Claudius? And Norway is experiencing the exact same. Hamlet, the play, opens in confusion and in a moment of transition, both with the soldiers and with our royal family. Not only that, but the threat from without, also one of transition, because everything changes and everything in Shakespeare is a symbol.